All right. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Franson. I'm looking at the closing and mergers of schools here with Cedar Springs Public Schools. This is one thing that is a very much a hypothetical situation. So this is something that has not happened at all. This is just something that I know a little bit about from previous days of coaching there and how things were done with possibility of with having to close a school. And I'll get into more of that here in a bit. Back in the early to mid 2000s, they were talking about closing one of the two schools, two elementary schools, and merging them into one due to some unforeseen issues. So some of the reasons is low enrollment. They had some possible low enrollment numbers in each of the schools. That would be combining the two schools into one, just to make it a lot easier and more cost effective. Obviously, consolidating schools for funds and use that way was a lot easier, so they decided to take a gander at it, but as far as I know, they didn't actually go ahead with it. The other thing was to kind of keep the age levels closer together. Currently at Cedar Springs Public Schools, they have a K through 2, K in 1 building, 2-3 building, 4-5 building, and I think a 6 building or 5-6 building. They've moved things around since I've been around there, and don't know exactly how that all works, but that's kind of how it was then. The kindergarten, first grade, then 2, 3, or all second grade in one building, 3, 4, 5, 6 in another building. So what I'm looking at is like the 3, 4, and the 5, 6 building possibly coming together. Those will be Cedar View and Red Hawk Elementary is what they're called. So one of the reasons they were looking at this is they were looking at possibly closing one, if not two schools, due to problems. The big evil word of asbestos in the floor. I was a wrestling coach with our youth program at the time. We were using one of the gyms. We had to move out of there because the mats couldn't lay out on the floor. And they wanted us out of there because the asbestos could get in the mats. There's a whole bunch of things. Two of the buildings had the same type of gym floor. So they wanted to look at how to change that possibly and changing and closing schools, even if it was just on a short-term basis to consolidate for a year or two so they could repair that. So where do we fit in? The biggest thing is that this was to kids here, to teachers, to community. The consumer, they have a voice. The community would have a voice. They would have town hall meetings. They talked about this, direct email to us and to us as administrators, so they could voice their opinion. If they couldn't make the meeting, let us know what their thoughts were. Talk about it. Tell us how you want to see this change happen. One thing I would reiterate to the entire public, knowing this and seeing this is not an easy decision at all. If this was going to go through and happen, it would be very, very long and drawn out. It's not an easy decision to make, to close school and mess with things. So, age-old question. If we close a school and combine it with another one, what will happen to the staff? Each staff member is able to, as I put, quote, bid for a new job. Again, it is one of those, if we're moving kids over and we have room for them, we will put those staff members we'll keep as much staff as possible. Now, granted, we do have some that will find other employment because either they're part-time or they just don't want to be a part of our district anymore. That happens. It's attrition. It's the teaching world. It's the education world. And also, there's staff that will retire. And then those that find other employment possibly will try to keep them to replace those teachers that are retiring. That's kind of what will happen with our staff. Custodial staff will try to remove them, put them back, and keep them around. Office staff will try to do the same thing with them, keep them in the school system as well. Again, keep as many people as possible. You have good people, you need to keep good people, and you have them. So here's our time frame. We're looking at the end of this school year, trying to make a decision before the end of the school year, obviously, so we can make everything happen for next year. The biggest, if we renovate Cedar View, which is the one that has that issue, this should be until the renovations are complete. So this may be a 1 to 2 year process, 1 to 2 year thing, maybe just a year. Do it for a year, bring those kids down to Red Hawk, which is the old high school. There's plenty of room. Make sure that they have room to work in there, and go right back next year and keep those staff. So we may lay off teachers for a year or have them in a different role for a year and then back into their own classrooms. If it's a permanent solution, we'll keep the building, work on keeping that building. We're not going to destroy a building because, well, we can use it. That's where all our baseball fields and softball fields are, and that could be an excellent place to use for athletics, for locker rooms and athletes, and shelters for those places as well. And then some of our lower level football players, I believe, still use this as their locker room in the fall. We will try to have a decision officially made out by December 1st. Again, with multiple meetings from now. We'll have one or two in November, December, January, and February, and then we'll have that ultimate decision and by April 1st, so then people have a time to chew over it. And plus, it gives our transportation department time to figure all that out. So if you have any questions for me, please feel free. This is the time to ask them. If you don't have any questions, I thank you for your time and enjoy. I do reiterate that this is a difficult decision that we want to not take lightly, and we're going to be doing multiple research projects on it in the next few months before we make our ultimate decision before April 1st.